Hey, Undisputed listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com now. Let's start the show. Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Jenny. How are you today?
LeBron is in trouble now. Here comes that three-headed monster in Brooklyn.
They gave up 145 points to the worst offensive team in basketball.
KD 38, Kyrie 37, James Harden triple-double. Here we go.
And guess where they came to last night, Skip? You know, inauguration, I give a 2 for 1.
We'll talk about that in a little while.
We will talk about Kyrie's return. We'll talk about the new Brooklyn Big Three. Don't worry, guys. But I want to begin by discussing Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, because remember, these two have already met this season. It was pretty one-sided. The Packers not only lost big to the Buccaneers in Week 6, 38-10, but they also had a difficult time protecting Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers was blitzed on a whopping 50% of pass plays through the first 3 quarters of the loss and was pressured on a season-high 30.8% of all pass plays in the game. It was Rodgers' only multi-interception game this season, and his completion percentage of 45 was his lowest this season. So, Shannon, will the Packers be able to fix this?
Yeah, I believe they will. I mean, anytime you lose a ball game and you play that opponent again, you look at all the things and where they trapped you at, Skip. They ran a lot. They blitzed him a lot, but they did a lot of blitzing with their interior linebackers, and they dropped Shaq Barrett, they dropped JPP in pass coverage, and I think that kind of caught the Packers off guard. I think they go into this game with their antenna up, knowing that they're going to get a lot of blitz. That's what the Bucs do. But now I think they have a better understanding of where those blitzes are going to come from, and Rodgers will do a better job of protecting the football. Skip, I think the game just got out of hand, and we saw that last week. The Saints were in control of this ball game until one fateful turnover, and it snowballed from there, and they were never able to gain the momentum. The Packers were in complete control of this ball game. It took a pick six, and then now you all of a sudden, Ted goes from 10-0 to 10-7, and then another pick, almost 6, then all of a sudden it's 14-0, and the Packers were never able to regain control of the ball game, Skip. And also, the Tampa did a great job of making these guys one-dimensional. So now you're one-dimensional. Now they start playing the run game on the way to your quarterback. They got after Aaron Rodgers really good. As Jenny mentioned in the read, this was his only multi-interception game. I don't see them coaxing him into more turnovers in this ball game. And it's hard for me to see a scenario in which Tyler Heineke can go get 23 points against this defense. Drew Brees is injured and as battered as he was, can get 20 points, and somehow Aaron Rodgers is going to get less than that. I just don't see it happen. Give Tampa credit. They did a great job of getting after Rodgers, did a great job of disguising where they were bringing the pressure from, and they got home on occasion. But I don't see that being the case in this situation around.
All I know is the harder I look at what happened on October the 18th, albeit at Tampa in 88-degree weather, cloudy 88 degrees, the harder I look at it, the worse it gets. You can make a case that Aaron Rodgers has never been more befuddled in his career than he was in that game.
Sure.
He had a, by far, season-low QBR of 12. That's on a scale 0 to 100. His next worst QBR for the whole season was a 46 at home against Jacksonville in a game they obviously didn't take very seriously, and they almost got into home trouble against one of the worst teams. Obviously, they got the top pick in the draft, so it became the worst team in pro football.
Right.
But the point is, this is the runaway MVP, and he had one nightmare and it just happened to be at Tampa Bay. And the harder I look at it, the worse it gets from a strategic point of view, because they did a number on him. And the number was so bad that, to me, I've never seen Aaron Rodgers just fold the way he did after the 2 near pick sixes. One was a pick six. The next one went to the 2-yard line.
Correct.
Both of those pick sixes, if we could see them, came against blitzes. So, again, a season-high 30.8% of his pass attempts were under pressure. That one he threw a little quick, and Jamel Dean just snatched
They brought secondary blitz on that situation.
That was a corner blitz.
Yes.
I think the other one, I haven't looked hard at this tape, the second one. No, it's not a corner blitz. The first one was definitely a corner blitz.
They brought Murphy Bunting, or Burning Murphy, I think that's his name. They brought one of those guys.
Murphy Bunting.
Yeah.
And the point is, that's a Mike Edwards, and he takes it down.
It looked like they brought, that might have been Levante David, or that might have been another corner on the other side.
I couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
But the point is that this is Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Bleepin' Rodgers, who through his career has been the best quarterback in football versus the blitz.
Yes.
He eats it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No matter home road, he's always had his way with blitzes. He is delighted. If you want to send extra, he will put extra points up on the scoreboard.
Even when you factor that game in, Skip, he was still one of the top 3 quarterbacks against the blitz, even when you factor that game into it. So clearly, you believe that's a trend. I believe it's an anomaly.
Okay. He's also been devastating against zone defense. And basically, Todd Bowles, for most of that game, played either cover 2 or cover 3.
Yeah.
Cover 3, you got 4 men under. Cover 2, you can have 5 men under.
Right.
So it was pretty simple what they were doing on the back end, because this is just me. I've had a lot of fear and trepidation about how vulnerable and torchable they are on the back end.
Right.
But on this given day, after the first 2 drives that went Aaron down the field for a field goal and then Aaron down the field all the way home, giving it a little McCringleberry in the end zone when he thought he had scored. He thought he'd scored, but he was actually ruled down at the half-yard line, and Aaron Jones then took it over for the touchdown to make it, to your point, 10-0. But then here we go again. Tampa Bay gets the ball back. Tom goes, that was 3 and out the first time, 7 and out the second time. And then they get the ball back, and it becomes 3rd and 10 at their 22. And he, against a corner blitz, he throws it quick to Devontae on one side, and you know the rest of the story. From that point forward, I'm going to use my line one more time. I watched Aaron Rodgers fold like a lawn chair at a Tampa retirement community.
Okay.
Because he just unraveled psychologically. He lost his nerve. I know you always say Brady under fire. If he gets under pressure, he just loses his nerve and his way in the pocket. Listen, Aaron Rodgers went in the tank.
Can I ask you a question?
In this game.
What was the difference between what Aaron Rodgers did on that Sunday afternoon in 88-degree weather as opposed to what Tom Brady did that Sunday night against the New Orleans Saints? I just want to know the difference.
No difference. Except at least Tom was trying in the second half, and Aaron looked completely hapless and hopeless.
Skip, you told me he gave up. You say the 3rd interception that he threw across his body, he gave up. So how was he still trying if he gave up?
He was just still dinking and dunking. He was trying. Listen, do you realize in Aaron's last 10 possessions of that game, think about this, 10 more times he had the football.
Right.
And I'm starting with the pick 6, the near pick 6.
Right.
7 of them were punts, and at the end of the half, Sue sacked him, and they just gave up and kneeled out the clock.
Right.
Okay, so the last 8 times you have the football after the 2 near pick sixes, you have 7 punts. You went nowhere. So your numbers for the game end up 16 of 35. That's 46%.
Okay.
This is Aaron Bleepin' Rodgers, who led the league in passing percentage, right?
Yes.
71%. He completed 46% against this defense for a grand total of 160 yards, and that includes those first 2 really nice drives that look like Aaron Rodgers.
But Skip, I get that he played bad, but if you look at what Tom Brady did the second time against New Orleans and what he did, so what did they do?
Okay.
They shored it up. And here's the thing: if you're going to play cover 2, I used to to tell TD this all the time, Terrell Davis.
Yep.
If a team is playing us cover 2, which means, like you said, they got eyes in the backfield. They don't want to give up anything deep. They don't want to give anything cheap. That's like, TD, run their ass out of cover 2. Well, if you're going to play cover 2, I'm going to force you to drop that safety down and you're going to have to go single high safety.
Who was #1 in the National Football League against the run the whole year from start to finish?
Tampa.
And it wasn't even close. Listen, between Sue and the other run stuffers they have, and listen, JPP and Shaquille Barrett can hold the edge.
They set the edges.
They
can.
set, man. It's hard to run on them.
Yes.
And then those two backers aren't just good.
They thump. Yeah, they fast.
They're
flow.
the
They
best
thump.
duo in football. And so they can mix and match. They can drop into coverage.
Yes.
They can blitz you. They can come after you.
Right.
Or if you try to run it on them, good luck.
But you're going to have to, Skip. You just can't let them guys play the run on the way to your quarterback because that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for a repeat of the game 1. If you let them do that. So even if you're not getting 5, 6, 7 yards a clip running the football, you need to run it enough to make Todd Bowles know, to make those guys sit in there. I believe the Green Bay Packer line, now, yes, Bakhtiari would definitely help, but I believe this offensive line as a whole has gotten better than what they were when they played Tampa on that Sunday afternoon. I believe they're better. I think you believe they're better. They can run the football better also, Skip.
I got it, but I noticed yesterday Pro Football Focus had Bakhtiari ranked as the best. He became the best pass blocker in all of pro football.
I wouldn't disagree.
Okay. All right, he's gone.
Yes.
He was there on October 18th in 88-degree weather, and it didn't help a bit because he seemed as lost as anybody else. They have a very good offensive line. Cleveland's was ranked slightly better, but theirs is very good.
Yes.
But once you take the left tackle out of the equation, I can't see how you can make a case that it's better now without Bakhtiari because it's just not. So did Tampa get any worse? They're getting Vita Vea back, who's another giant run stuffer in the middle. And I don't know if he can go or not. He just came off IR, had a fractured ankle, so I have no idea. But he is cleared to play football this Sunday. So will he help against the run also? My point is, Tampa has been brought to a boil, I think, by Tom Brady's leadership because they have taken off December to remember, at Washington, at New Orleans, here we go, at Green Bay. So whatever they are, you're going to get the best of. And I still say this defense is weirdly, it plays up and down to the opposition, the level of competition. So at New Orleans, the second time around, obviously, man, they rose and shone. And it looks like they've taken off because it looks like Devin White is becoming right before your very eyes in his only second year in the league. It looks like he's becoming a superstar to me, right?
Yeah, he can play. But I think the thing is, Skip, look, and that's what happens when you play a team, you get an opportunity. And it's easy, and I've said it again, and I hate repeating myself, but when you lose, I believe you have an advantage. Because you know what, Skip? I guarantee you Matt LaFleur is not having to tell guys to watch any extra tape.
Nope.
I'm sure he's not having to tell guys they need to pay attention to detail. He has their undivided attention because he knows what this team did to his team the time before, and the players know. So, and just like Tampa, Bruce Arians didn't have to give no motivational speech. Skip, the man, they beat y'all 38-3 on national TV, and you call timeout to kick a field goal to get that. So Bruce Arians didn't have to do a whole lot of talking. He talking about, oh, we some tough, you know what, and we just find ways to win games. You didn't have to say a word because you got embarrassed on national television, and you didn't want that to happen again. So those guys are going to be highly motivated. It's hard for me to see a scenario that Tyler Heineke and that offense, Washington football team, can go get 23. Drew Brees, as battered as he was, and neither one of those offensive line, the Saints nor Washington football team's offensive line, minus Bakhtiari, is better than the Green Bay Packers. And they get you at their place. I believe the outcome, there's no question in my mind. As a matter of fact, I'm so sure the outcome's going to be different. I want another case.
5?
I want another case.
Okay, we're up to 5 cases.
5 cases.
I got 7 points.
Yes.
5 cases for 7 points. I got Tampa Bay plus 7.
You got him. You got You got Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady Jr. And if it's a third or a fourth one, you could have him too.
And you've got Mr. Rodgers.
I got him.
Mr. Rodgers, as in he used to be Aaron Rodgers, except against Tampa Bay. Could we see what happened 4 times against Tampa Bay, albeit in 88-degree weather? Can we just see how this looked?
Okay.
Here's the first one. Oops. Aaron, you okay? He doesn't like that.
You see that, Skip? That's Levante David.
I got it.
That's David. That's David.
Okay, here we go. This is the Sue one. Oh, Aaron. Oh, Aaron didn't Sue. He gave him an earful after that one. Aaron, little
There's
play
Levante
action.
David again.
And guess who up the middle? Guess who? Oh, it's JPP. Here's
another corner blitz.
God. You know what? He got hit right in the mouth by Devin White. See that?
Yeah, you see.
I don't think Aaron liked that.
Well, you see what they did? They brought both backers and a corner.
And Aaron's got a little diva in him, and he's got a little pretty boy in him, and he didn't want to get hit in the mouth like that. That's no fun.
Ain't no
right?
fun. But you know, Skip, the one thing I don't know, but you know, when it gets cold outside and you're a little older, man, them bones don't the frozen tundra Lambeau Field, with them Smith and Smith, that law firm get a hold of you, and Kenny Clark, and Rashawn Gary,
here they come. Can you get there with 4? Can you?
Yeah, don't worry about what we can do it with. We might do it with 2 or 3. But you're going down. What did Al say, Skip? What did he always say? At some point early in the game, the quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
Yep, okay. But when you're Tampa Bay and you're hotter than Tampa Bay in August, and you go to Lambeau, you don't feel the cold because you are on fire. Fire.
I want that same energy. That's the energy.
Fire.
I'm going to need that energy on Monday, Skip. That energy that you got right now. You see how you talking all big and bold, chest out?
Yep. So in the back of Aaron's mind right now, he's thinking, God, they got me. They beat the hell out of me. I did not enjoy that. And he might start seeing ghosts. He might start getting a little flinchy. He's talking big and bold, and he's found his bliss. And
you know Aaron Rodgers is doing right now? Yeah. He reckoned on his list. He said, I'm about to have this many Super Bowl tickets. Let me see who I can invite. Let's see. I think I'm going to invite Madam VP because she's from California. Yeah, Miss Kamala Harris. Maybe I ask President Biden. He might. That's too much security. So
he'd be interested.
That's too much security, Skip. We gonna have. Even if we invite Madam VP, that's still a lot. So we might have to hold off on them, and we just go see them in the White House. That's what we gonna do. We gonna plan that. We gonna go see them in the White House.
Okay.
But he working on the same family member. You know, hopefully I worked out that situation. Mom, dad, brother. I don't think he's seeing anybody right now, so this was like,
okay.
Yeah. He's like,
And Lil Wayne, I think, is actually going to dress for that game. He's actually going to come out for the Super Bowl because it's a done deal. He's actually going to come out in Packer uniform, and he might actually play a couple plays.
He told me he want to be on the sideline, but I think Wayne gonna want to be. I mean, standing on the sideline is all fun and good, but eventually, Skip, you want to sit down and really enjoy the game, and have you some, couple of cocktails, some nice wings and some more. Nice little.
By the way, my friend Lil Wayne was telling me last week that, I want to be down there on the sideline, being in the spirit of the battle. But then next thing I know, he's up in a suite, right?
Yeah.
It's just
fun down
you
there. You don't want that kind of cold Lil Wayne.
Okay, I got it. So in the end, Tampa blitzed by far the most against Aaron Rodgers on that day
than any other team.
Think about this. They blitzed 50% of the snaps through the first 3 quarters. Think about that. Every other snap, all the way through 3 quarters of that, what became a blowout, until it was completely over, and he called off the dogs after 3 quarters. Every other play, they're coming with extra.
That's what's called blitzing someone into submission.
Okay, blitzed into submission. What does Todd Bowles do? He blitzes. Yeah. So they're not going to change how the philosophy. They'll change the how. It will be coming from different places, and I believe Aaron will start seeing ghosts up on Lambeau.
Because they didn't blitz Drew Brees nearly as much as I thought they would, but they said there's no need to. He can't push the ball. He can't hurt us throwing the ball outside the numbers or throwing the ball outside of our head. So what we're going to do, we're going to play straight cover 5, which is 22 man. We're not going to let them inside, and we're going to force them to throw down the middle, but we got backers that can get down there. Devin White, Levante David, they can cover the middle. So we're good. You can't beat us, Drew. You can't. But that guy, number 12 at Lambeau, there's not a blade of the grass on the field that he cannot touch. So you got your work cut out for. I see big. I see big, Skip. I see big. You do what you did. I tell you what, Skip. If you blitz him like you did last time, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly quick.
Really?
Yes.
I see Aaron Rodgers seeing ghosts at Lambeau. He might see the ghost of Lombardi and Horning and
remember, Lazard didn't play last time.
Yeah.
Lazard didn't play last time.
Oh. Wow. Oh, you know what? You got me on that. I think I need some more points.
Who put the game away? Who put the game away? Who put the game away last week against the Rams?
Ooh, I'm scared.
Okay,
because
you will be.
Devontae Adams at Tampa, let's see, he had 10 targets, caught 6 of them for a grand total of 61. How about Aaron Jones? 10 carries for 15 yards? Really? 15 yards. One, his long was 7 yards, so he had 9 carries for 8 yards.
But don't worry about all that.
Interesting.
They will have more.
A number got done on the Green Bay offense.
They will have more rush attempts than what they had in the first game, and they will be more successful at running the football. But your days are numbered. You're on borrowed time, bro.
You know, Aaron Rodgers, we're going to talk about this a little later in the show. He is speaking as if it's a foregone conclusion that he is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I've never heard such serene confidence.
That's what I want. I want my leader. If you're gonna stand up in front of us and tell us we finna hit the wall or we finna storm the beach, I need you to have the utmost convince me that you really feel that way and you just not selling me a dream.
Do you know the old cliche, whistling through the graveyard? That's what Aaron's doing.
He's about y'all.
Whistling through the graveyard because here comes the defense that is as supremely confident as he is, but they're just not speaking it.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They've been talking all that. They've been doing a lot of chirping lately. They talk about, New Orleans ate a dub on our field, but look where they're going now. They're doing a lot of talking. You know they're doing a lot.
Well, Bruce Arians talks every week.
B.A. talking. One of the cornerbacks was on IG called Michael Thomas, old slant boy. Y'all doing a lot of talking. But get it out. Go ahead, because after Sunday, ain't nobody listening to you.
Confidence. They know they did a number.
We got confidence, too. The pack is back.
Is it?
Jack.
Yeah, I guess I told you Aaron Rodgers is the comeback player of the year.
Yeah, no comeback player of the year. No, Alex Smith got that. As a matter of fact, they probably going to name the award after Alex Smith.
I don't know. I think it's Aaron.
Don't
after
do
that disaster.
Actually, it might be Tom Brady. Considering what he did last year. You remember him in the divisional round of the playoffs?
You remember Aaron in the NFC Championship game last year?
Say it one more time. Where did he go? NFC Championship game?
And what do people call his team? The worst 13-3 team in the history of the NFL.
That's what I want to be. I want to be the brokest billionaire in the world.
Okay.
Jenny, what does somebody call you? Say, Jenny, you the brokest billionaire ever.
Well, if you're broke, you're broke.
No.
You're broke.
No, there are levels to billionaire status. There's like Jeff Bezos level. And then there's, you got just $1 billion.
Yeah, it's a different level. Okay, good stuff, guys.
No mercy.
What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Shay Sharpe. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
No mercy.
The Nets' first game with Kyrie, Katie, and Harden all playing together didn't go as well as Brooklyn had hoped. The Cavs ended up winning by 12 in double overtime despite the Nets' big three combining for 96 points. No one could slow down Cleveland's Collin Sexton, who had a game-high 42 points, including 15 in the second overtime. So, Shannon, what did you learn in last night's debut of the Nets' big three?
I learned what I do to be true all along. Although they're going to be outstanding offense, defense is going to be their problem. And they're a very small team with now that they got Kyrie back, because the majority of the game, Jeff Green was playing the 5 spot. And Skip, that's going to be a problem. And I told you, I said, Skip, what they're doing is that they're going to need to score somewhere between 120 and 140. In order to win these games, because they don't play any defense. They play no defense. A lot of standing around. And when they got rid of Allen, when they got rid of Taurean Prince, those were they're really good on-ball defenders. Now, if you want to talk about deflections and you want to talk about all this, that's fine and good. All I know is this. You got almost 100 points from 3 guys. You got 20 rebounds. You got 20 assists. And you lost the game Because why? You gave up 20 points in one overtime. In a 5-minute overtime, you gave up 20 points in one of them. Now, I don't know if people know this at home, ladies and gentlemen. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the worst offensive team in all of basketball, and they just got 147. Now, their offensive rating last night was 122, the highest offensive rating in NBA history. The Dallas Mavericks had it last year at 116. But Skip Bayless is going to come out here and tell you they can play defense. No, they can't. You see what Collin Sexton did to Kyrie? Kyrie came back and got 38, but the other guy got 42. Now, Kevin Love and Garland didn't even play. Skip, I watched them closely. I don't see a whole lot of sets. I see a whole lot of one-on-one, and then they try to break you down, and when you come to help, I kick the ball. This style of play works really, really well if guys are knocking down shots. Skip, we've seen this. We've seen it in Phoenix. We've seen it in Houston. But when they load up on you come playoff time, it's going to be very, very interesting. They're going to need to get some bench. Their bench was awful last night. Joe Harris couldn't make any shots. But Skip, I mean, you got guys playing, KD playing 50 minutes, James Harden playing 50, Kyrie playing almost 49. And then you got Joe Harris off the bench playing 41. And then your other three guys play 11 and 10 and 7. Defense is going to be an issue for them. They're going to need to get this resolved, Skip, because think about this. Before I turn it over to you, Andre Drummond didn't really post because he's really not the great post player. Jared Allen, he's really not a post. I'm talking about offensive player. They're post, they're bigs, but not offense. Play with the back. Ooh, I get you. But I don't know if you noticed last night. Did you see that big guy in Philly? He's going to punish somebody. He's going to punish somebody.
I mean, the guy I keep telling you is the best big man in basketball by far, not even close, and you keep saying no, no, no.
Yo,
now you're on his bandwagon?
No, Skip. I did not. Hold on. How do you take me saying the guy in Philly is a load and they don't have anybody to deal with him? You saw what he did last night. This is the second time he's been over 40 with double-digit rebounds, 40 points, double-digit rebounds. I'm saying because they're so small, and they don't have a true post presence to defend someone like that, that could be a problem. That's what I'm saying. Defense is going to be a problem. Offensively, they're set. But defense, James Harden only got 2 shots in the first half. I don't know he happy about that. I don't know he happy about that. That ain't none of my business, though. Go ahead.
You finished?
Go ahead.
I got to get a new TV because I saw an upside-down game from what you saw.
Okay,
I have no idea what game you are talking about.
Okay.
I saw the new greatest show on earth. This is must-see TV. This is hashtag nothing but nets. I saw an offensive tour de force, and I saw a head coach in Steve Nash, never been a head coach before, who just said, you know what? Let's turn this into one long cardio scrimmage. I'm going to play my new big 3 in Kyrie's debut, a career-high Kevin Durant, 50 minutes, a career-high for James Harden, 51 minutes. And I'm going to play Kyrie Irving 48 minutes and 22 seconds after he has been out for 7 games and was worried about his cardio coming back. Right? That's how many minutes I'm going to play those guys, and I'm going to play them all 3 because they just need reps.
Right. And you wanted to win that game.
It was against a team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are, they're the worst statistical offensive team in basketball. What did they do last night from the 3-point line? They made 20 out of 40. Why did they do that? Because they were inspired, because 2 of their newest players used to be Brooklyn Nets. Am I right? Did you see what Jared Allen did last night? He had 12 points and 11 rebounds off the bench. Did you see what Taurean Prince did for the Cavaliers last night? Inspired, 17 points and 7 rebounds off the bench.
Okay.
Did you see what Collin Sexton did? He went into the twilight zone of 3-point shooting in ways I have rarely seen. This was Klay Thompson-esque what he did, especially in the second overtime. So to your final point, I will go at first. That is that James Harden, clearly, he is an offensive genius. He said, welcome back, Kyrie. I'm going to extend you an olive branch in the first half. I'm not going to shoot it. James didn't take his shot until there was like a minute left in the first half because he said, Kyrie, you do it. Okay. And guess what? They came out and made their first 10 shots. And Kyrie was out of his mind in the first half and made 8 out of 10 shots. Right. That'll work. Right. So you had James just saying, Kyrie, you do this because we need you to be more of the 2 than the 1. So I'll be the point guard. I'll initiate the offense, but you score the basketball, which he did at the highest level. So Kyrie didn't miss a beat. All that time off that he had, and everybody was all over him. He came right back, and he looked like Kyrie Irving, and he blended right in. And then in the second half, James said, you know what, maybe I should start shooting. And he began to shoot, and all he did was wind up with a triple-double. James Harden is leading the league in assists, and he had 12 more last night. Is that good? Yeah. I'd say that's pretty good. He scored 21 without even shooting in the first half. Is that good? Yeah. That is sensationally good. Yeah. Okay, now let's go to the end of regulation, shall we? Yeah, we shall. Because Kyrie Irving, listen, they are on a tear. They are charging to the finish line because they got sick and tired of Cleveland playing way over its head, making three-point shots, and they said, watch this. They close the fourth quarter on a 28-15 run at Cleveland. Is that good? That is great. It was firepower. It was greatest show on earth, tour de force. And it comes down to Kyrie got the basketball at the end, and he drives it up the floor on one Collin Sexton. If we could see this play, please. And I immediately tweeted, here's the ball. They force a turnover. And here comes Kyrie. James just said, you do it. You're the last shot taker. And he drives right past Collin Sexton. And the referee calls an offensive foul. And I immediately tweeted, you can check my timeline. I said, that is completely wrong. Collin Sexton leans into him, hacks him across the leg. And somehow, because Kyrie's elbow hit Collin Sexton in the jaw because he leaned right in front of it, Kyrie didn't extend his elbow. They called an offensive foul and screwed Kyrie out of going to the free throw line with 2 attempts to make one to win the game. He had lost the ball anyway. No, well, but it's a foul. He slapped him across the front of his body and across his leg. And guess what they did? They go review it, and they say, whoops, we screwed up. We reversed the call. Well, guess what? When you reverse a call at the end of the game like that, guess what the result is? Jump ball. Yeah. You're still punished. You're still penalized. You should be at the free. If you're going to reverse the call, give Kyrie the free throws to win the game. And we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. It's a stupid rule. You know it, and I know it.
It's the rule, Skip.
Okay, and they got screwed.
Okay, what about the Skip? What about the fact what if they didn't have the challenge system in?
Okay, but I'm just saying it was a blown call. It was wrong, and I tweeted it, and I was right about it. Okay, so then we go to the end of the first overtime, and they're up 3. They played a great first overtime.
Jumped out on them. Yeah, and Cleveland walked them down.
Well, they walked them down because Cleveland was shooting out of its mind when I'm looking up at Larry Nance making 3-point shots.
You making my point, Skip?
Look at this first overtime. It's tour de force's scoring. So they should have won it. But what does Steve Nash do as a first-time head coach down the stretch of this game, last few seconds? Collin Sexton had the ball. You just foul because you can foul him and with literally no time left on the clock. Just foul him. Just go ahead and foul him before he goes into shooting mode. If you foul him and Kyrie's on him and Kyrie defended it very well, Collin Sexton just made a ridiculous shot to tie the game and send it to the second overtime. Well, he literally wore out Kyrie in the second overtime because Kyrie's playing 48 minutes and he hasn't played in 7 games. And I'm saying, Steve, look, if do you know Bruce Brown? I keep raving about him. He is their designated defender. He is 6 feet 4 inches tall out of the University of Miami. And again, he should have been on Collin Sexton for portions of each of the overtime. Let Kyrie have a break. But Steve Nash is just trying to get the big 3 in rhythm in a close game just so they can figure each other out. But Kyrie's legs had to be dead. He hasn't played in what's it been, going on 3 weeks?
But you're making my point. You keep telling me, you do realize that the Cleveland Cavaliers got up 109 shots. They made 56 of them. That's 51.4%. They got up 43s. They made 20. That's 50%. You're making my point about the defensive end, Skip. Right, but you keep talking about offense. You won't mention
the game. They locked them up and locked them
down
the stretch. to the fourth quarter. I just showed you 28-15, and they got screwed on the last call, or the game's over. I'm sorry, it's over.
They scored.
It should have been over. They should have won it easily at the end of regulation by saying that's enough.
Skip.
You can't ask those. What have you been telling me about James Harden? He's fat. Well, how did he play 50 minutes last night? He must have lost 15 pounds last night.
Skip, you keep telling me that they locked them up, but they had 62 points in the second half. They scored 4. After you jumped out to a 6-7 point lead in the first overtime, they walked you down. And then they scored 20 in the second overtime. You keep talking about offense. You keep talking about 38, and this one had 39, and this one had a triple-double. The other team scored 147 points.
Guess what they scored in the fourth quarter? It's 26. Guess what they scored in the second half of the fourth quarter? 15.
Oh, look.
Okay?
20.
So my point to you is they locked them up in the fourth quarter. They said, that's enough of you. They were no good in the fourth quarter. They were average in the fourth quarter. They were the Cavaliers in the fourth quarter, and 35 from Brooklyn should have won it if they get the call at the end of the game. It shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Okay, well, how many points did you score in the first quarter? Since you was 26 and so bad in the fourth, you scored 23. And guess what you scored in the second quarter?
Guess what 26. They did? They made their first 10 shots of the game.
You guys did.
Of the game.
Your guys did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you still only had 49 points at the half. And you made your first 10 shots and you only had 49. And guess what? The Cavaliers was in front of you at halftime. Because why? All you keep talking about, they look great offensively. I told you the problem that I see them having is defensively. You can't allow the worst offensive basketball team to go get 147.
Kevin Durant last night had 4 blocks. 4 blocks. He can defend at the highest level. And by the way, you never mentioned DeAndre Jordan. He's going to play a lot of minutes, but I know
he can't play a lot of minutes. The man played 24 minutes.
Okay, he made 6 out of 7 shots. He can still rim protect, but I know what Steve Nash was thinking. Joe Harris is really good. He's the former, obviously, three-point shooting champion, and he's had a tremendous year. So he said, you know what? I'll go smaller against them because I got to give Joe some run just for his ego purposes. Just to reward him for all that he's done so far this year. So he played him 41 minutes, and Joe Harris was cold. He shot 2 of 10 from the floor and 2 of 7 from 3. That's not the usual Joe Harris. He's a little out of sync because he lost his starting job back to Kyrie plus James Harris.
He's gonna be out of sync. You know why? Because the touches come few and far between now. You got 3 guys. He might go 5-6 minutes and never touch the ball. Shooters need a rhythm. So guess what we saw? All I see Kyrie go one-on-one. If he ain't got nothing, he'll kick it, somebody open. I see KD go one-on-one. He ain't got nothing. He kick it, somebody open. I see James Harden. I didn't see no sets. I didn't see somebody come down.
I saw a bunch of sets.
Okay.
I saw a lot of picks, a lot of rolls. Okay. I saw a lot. I saw James Harden. Chris Broussard on this show was right about this. He called it from the top. That is, James Harden is the point guard, Kyrie is the 2, and Kevin just plays 3, 4, and a lot of 5. And when they go small, Kevin just plays center.
Well, so guess what Shannon Sharpe said? Tell him that Shannon Sharpe said the problem that he sees with this team is going to be what? Defense. And what was the problem last night? Because remember now, they had to fight for their life just the other day against Orlando. They had to fight for their life, Orlando. Orlando ain't no juggernaut. And Orlando, Vucevic went off for 32 and 14. And I told you, somebody that has a big that can punish them, there's going to be a problem. They don't defend. Now, you can do all this about deflections and all this, but at some point in time...
Wait, James Harden last year led the league in steals?
See?
Steals?
So now we look at... So how many times have we ever said, you know what? James Harden is a heck of a defender. How many times has somebody...
I said it all last year.
Oh, my goodness.
He was 3rd in recovering loose balls, 6th in deflections. He played his tail off on defense last year. Sorry. He does. Kyrie will play it, as Kyrie said after the game, the tale will be told by how we play on the defensive end. That is correct.
I look at it like this, what James Harden did. That's like a defensive lineman. I like the defense. You get up, he deflected 7 balls. Give me 7 sacks instead of deflecting 7 balls.
Okay.
Ain't nobody, they don't have anybody that can sit in the chair and guard somebody on the perimeter.
Bruce Brown. Yeah, I've been saying it. It's like me saying little Scotty Miller the whole offseason, and then all of a sudden you're saying, ooh, little Scotty Miller can play. Bruce Brown can play. He's their designated defender. They will utilize him more and more against the Collin Sextons of the world.
Bruce Brown, Larry Brown, they're in trouble on the defensive end.
Nope. And they will add at the trade deadline. They got 3 open spots right now. They'll just get designated.
I'm talking about right now. Let's talk about right now. You're talking like hold on. You make
it's a long season.
You make it seem like they're going to be the only one to add. You're going to act like they're going to be the only one to add something.
Last night was their first time around, and it was a get-in-shape game. They got in shape last night.
What did KD need to get in shape for? Hell, he been there the whole year.
He's coming off an Achilles reattachment. Whew.
Skip, it's been almost 2 years.
Well, I'm just saying, you got to play your way into shape.
So he ain't in no
That's what
shape.
James did.
So
you told me James was in terrible shape.
Skip, I'm not talking about you. Said KD. You said KD. Let's talk about KD one at a time.
Yeah.
KD had this surgery. He had surgery in June of 2019.
Yeah, he's still playing his legs.
It's 2021.
Yeah, he took a year and a half off.
Yes.
Didn't play any basketball. Wow.
So he ain't been doing nothing. He's just been sitting around.
Much. He's looking like the MVP, but other than that, yeah.
But hold on. But he needs to play in shape. So how you out of shape and look like the MVP?
Well, you're trying to get the rhythm together, but you told me James Harden is fat. What'd you tell me? He's at least 15 pounds overweight?
I still believe he's overweight.
Okay, well, how do you play 50 minutes overweight? That's impossible.
James Harden game is he doesn't play a Russell Westbrook type of a ball game, where he's frenetic and all over the place. He doesn't burn excess energy. He's not going from point A to point B. James Harden is very, very methodical about how he does things. James Harden is great. I'm not saying it on the offensive end. I said their problem is, and you're trying to make it about, I said defensively. 147 points says they got a problem when the worst offensive team in basketball gets 147.
Collin Sexton scored 15 in the second overtime. How often do you see a guy score 15 in one overtime?
Hey, let me ask you a question. And what does that tell you? If a guy goes get 15 in one
that he was out of his mind, that's what it tells you.
Ain't nobody going to defend him.
Yeah.
What about KD? What about the best player on the planet?
You're still playing your big 3 up to 50 minutes apiece in a second overtime, in which obviously their legs were gone.
What happened when my guy see a guy going up like that? What my guy do? My guy said, I got this, and dump a bucket of cold water on him.
Wait, your guy's playing a career low, what is it, 32 minutes a game?
Yes.
Think about this, world. LeBron James averages 32 minutes a game. James Harden last night played 50 minutes fat. Just remember.
Okay, with James, I want to see how many minutes James Harden is playing in year 18. That's all I want to see.
Just so you know, we have less than a month before the Nets visit us in L.A. for a Lakers matchup, February 18th. You're going to go? Did you just say you're going to be there?
I'm going to be there.
Oh, you're going to find a way. Maybe we could do the show from outside and just find a way. Plenty of material coming from Brooklyn, from the Big Three. This is just the beginning, guys. I want to go back to what we saw last weekend, because the Saints were actually more banged up than we initially knew when they lost to Brady and the Bucs last Sunday, of course. Michael Thomas will be undergoing surgery to fix nagging injuries that slowed him down all season. And Drew Brees, his wife, recently revealed that Drew played through a foot injury and a rotator cuff injury after coming off the rib and lung injuries that we did know about. On the flip side, Aaron Rodgers had some luck against the Rams, facing a banged-up Aaron Donald, no Cooper Kupp, and Jared Goff playing with a broken thumb on his throwing hand since backup quarterback John Wolford was ruled out. So, Shannon, who benefited more from their opponent's injuries last weekend, the Bucs or the Packers?
Brady. Because Brady played against a guy that couldn't throw the ball down the field, and on top of not being able to throw the ball down the field, he played terrible when throwing the ball short. So I don't really... Brees turned the ball over 3 times. Drew Brees and the Saints handed Tom Brady the great field position that they got, in which they got their touchdown, Skip. There's no question about that. Latavius Murray didn't play. Ty Montgomery wasn't supposed to get any carries. Latavius Murray's supposed to get those carries from Alvin Kamara. Ty Montgomery played. Now, I'm trying to...
Did Alvin Kamara play?
Hold on, time out.
Well, I'm just wondering.
No.
I can't remember. Oh, he did. I think he did.
Then I could have sworn you said it was me, and I ain't even asking you a question. You say you asked me. No, you asked me. I was just responding. I didn't ask you anything.
Latavius Murray?
I'm just trying to figure out how Michael Thomas goes from catching 149, 150-plus balls to all of a sudden he can't get open. Oh, the man got to have surgery on his ankle in 2 different locations. He missed the majority of the season with a high ankle sprain. He's been in and out of the lineup. Well, no, let's not even talk. Hendrickson, who led the team in sacks, played 29 snaps. Clearly, he was not himself. He's to them what Aaron Donald. Now, I'm not saying he's the equivalent player, but to that defense, he's the guy that you got to double team. He's the guy that gets consistent pressure. He was able to generate no pressure. So for me, it's not even close. And Brady didn't have to play. The defense was unbelievable, Skip. So this notion, not the thing that I do hate, I hate that Drew's wife brought up, because you didn't bring up any of these things when he was playing well. And see, that's the problem that I have. Don't do that. Don't do that. You lost. Hey, move on. But if you don't say he's injured and had rotator cuff and foot injuries when he's out there throwing all these touchdowns, don't do that now. So with that being said, I still believe Brady benefited the most.
Okay, I'm going to give you, this is close, but I believe that Rodgers benefited slightly more, because what is now Pro Football Focus, everybody's, the runaway defensive player of the year was who?
Aaron Donald.
Like runaway. Greatest, a lot of people are going, Troy Aikman went all the way to greatest ever. Greatest defensive player ever.
I'm not going there, Skip.
Okay, so I made the mistake of listening to Aaron Donald the week before last Sunday's game, and he had banged up ribs, and he said, I feel fine, I'm going to be just fine, I will play. And he did play.
But not to the level you used to see.
55% of the snaps. He usually plays 85% of the snaps, and he was given the right to take himself out of the game, and he took himself out of 30% of the snaps. That wasn't a coaching decision. That was Aaron Donald's decision.
Okay.
In the game, he registered a grand total of 1 assisted tackle. No solo tackles, no tackles for losses, 1 assisted tackle, and they gave him 1 quote-unquote pressure, in which he reached out and grabbed a handful as he ran past Aaron Rodgers' jersey. Grabbed a handful, and Aaron just scooted right out from under it and threw it 33 yards to Robert Tonyan for a big completion in the game. So that quote-unquote pressure didn't seem to bother Aaron Rodgers a bit. So as I told you yesterday and the day before, I had 99 problems in that game because number 99 was nowhere to be seen. And Aaron Rodgers' first quote after the game was, I was barely touched.
Right.
Well, not only was there no Aaron Donald in the game, but the spirit of the line was lost because they sort of go as he goes. He sets the tone. And clearly, even without Bakhtiari, the best left tackle in football, the best pass blocker in football, they just handled the line all day long, the Rams line, and there are others who can rush the passer, obviously.
You forgot about Brockers and Joseph Day and Leonard Floyd.
And they were nowhere to be found. And it seemed like they couldn't feed off any momentum that usually gets started by Aaron Donald. It always starts with Aaron Donald and finishes with other sacks.
And guess what, Skip? Rodgers still had to face Jay Ram. Who's an all-pro corner. So tell me that
I thought he got exposed in that game.
No, look, he gave the touchdown to Adams, and that happens. Get ready, dude ran a great route. That's a hard route to guard because the guy runs what we call a disco route. Skip comes and he goes back and he takes off, and he has to navigate through the linebackers and everything to snap the ball. They step it up because they think it might be play action, and Aaron Rodgers whips it to it.
And what did Jalen Ramsey do the second he stepped across the goal line? Devontae stepped across the goal line. He wheeled and pointed to some backup, like nickel corner.
Yeah,
where are you? It's your fault.
First of all, if you discuss that in the game, when he comes in motion like that, you kick out, I'll come replace you, okay, fine. But if you don't discuss that, if that's not the game plan, you can't wait till you get in the game to get him, Skip. That's not how it works.
Okay, so Drew Brees obviously was somewhat limited. I don't know how much he was hampered by a torn rotator cuff, but I got to tell you, if you look at his year, it was still pretty great.
Yeah. Because
he was 6th in QBR. He was barely second to Aaron Rodgers in completion percentage at 71%. So if you got a torn rotator cuff, I don't know, you're still throwing a lot of accurate balls.
Well, he was, Skipper, but he's not pushing the ball down the field, and that was the biggest thing. But Skipper, if you look at Jared Goff was 21 of 27.
For a grand total of 174 yards.
That was 40 more yards than what Drew Brees has, minus the 3 interceptions.
Jared Goff was sacked 4 times, and for the first time in his career, he had to wear a glove on his right hand. So I don't know how comfortable he was with that, because he just recently had 3 pins put in his throwing thumb.
Yeah.
And that's pretty hard to do.
I thought Drew Brees was throwing where the catchers went. Did you see those interceptions that he threw?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we could attribute a lot of that to the Tampa Bay defense.
Oh,
right?
but you don't want to attribute anything to the Green Bay's defense.
So what did we see at the end of the year from the Rams quarterback situation? We saw somebody named John Walford look pretty good against Arizona. He went 22 of 38 for 231, but he ran it 6 times for 56 yards. So he can run it a little bit, and he is more of a threat in that department than Jared Goff. And then what happened against Seattle in the first playoff game? He's 3 for 6, and he gets banged in the head, and his concussion is so bad, he has to miss the Green Bay game. Yeah. So unlike what we think is about to happen with Patrick Mahomes, it sounds like John Walford could not get through the protocol to get to the next playoff game.
Even though being said, Skip, Aaron Rodgers had to play really, really well. He had to execute at a high level. Because the Rams, even though you say all these injuries, they were still right there in the ball game till about 5 minutes and 13 seconds until Aaron Rodgers hit Lazard for that long touchdown that really broke the game open. So for all this about they were so bad, they were right there in the ball game until the very end.
Well, maybe that says something about how vulnerable Green Bay actually is, because they beat a grand total of 2 teams with a winning record. So
you only beat 1.
Yeah, but we're starting completely over with a brand new quarterback.
Oh, no, but don't forget. So why is it that when you beat one team that made the playoffs, Green Bay beat a few, you talk about, well, they didn't do anything.
We were the 5th seed. You're the 1 seed.
Well, you could have been the 1 seed. You know, you play 16 games.
Yeah.
Both teams got an opportunity to play 16 games. If you won more than you lost, there's a great chance you'd have been the 1 seed. But you didn't.
Okay, so I concede that Michael Thomas a year ago was really good. In fact, he was the Offensive Player of the Year.
Last year.
Yeah, last year's Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
And I will concede that he was thrown 4 balls on Sunday and caught none of them, and it could be in large part because he needed ankle surgery.
Well, Skip, you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm one of the foremost authorities on ankle. Because for the better part of 2.5 years, I shot my ankles up every single Sunday and played. Okay. It's like you're running on hot nails. Okay. It's hard to get open. But nobody wants to hear about that. The fans didn't know. There are a handful of people that knew. A couple of the coaches knew, and a lot of my teammates, because they would walk by the room and they see the doctor pulling that long needle out of both of my ankles. Yep. But I was still going out there having to compete. It didn't matter. Like I said, and that's what I say, Skip, when a guy, he's injured, he banged up, you get your butt on the field, you're responsible for that product. Just like a grocery store, they're responsible for what they sell in that store. Yep. I'm responsible for the plate that I put on that field. Healthy, injured, whatever it is. When 8-4 and 8-2 stepped on the field, I was responsible for that. Okay. So that's what it is. What it is.
Okay, I'm not considered an expert on knees, but I've had 3 knee surgeries, and I still run 8 miles a day, 5 days a week. So I don't know how I do this, but I got through it somehow. So I get how bad knees can be. And as Howard Cosell once said, the knee, it's always the knee. That's the one that stops you. So do you know who Cooper Kupp is for the Rams? Okay. All he was Jared Goff's favorite receiver. It has been for quite a while. He is his security blanket. He caught the most balls for the Rams this year, for the most yards this year for the Rams. Cooper Kupp hurt his knee in the final, in the Seattle game, the first playoff game.
Like the final drive. I think it was the final drive.
And he limped off the field into the sunset, not to be seen again, because he was not able to dress at Green Bay. So at least Michael Thomas, who is to Drew Brees what Cooper Kupp is to Jared Goff. I got that. And I'm not saying that Cooper Kupp is better than Michael Thomas. I just think in Jared Goff's head that he trusts Cooper Kupp as much as Drew Brees trusts and leans on Michael Thomas. So if you take Cooper Kupp completely out of the game, he didn't even dress for the game. At least Michael Thomas could be a decoy in the game.
But basically that's what he was, and he ended up getting picked, Skip. And the report says the only reason that Michael Thomas played because he thought this was Drew's last time, and he wanted to go out there with him and possibly help him get a championship. Okay. That's the only reason that he played.
Okay, but again, Cooper Kupp didn't even dress. So how do you think that worked on Jared Goff's head?
Well, he already knew Jared Goff was some slow anyway. So.
Okay, all right. So
did you hear what the coach said?
Huh?
The coach don't seem too excited. Like, we evaluating all the players. How you evaluate a man, Skip, you just gave $108 million to? What's the evaluate?
So wait, Jared Goff has 3 pins in his thumb, and Aaron Donald's a disaster, and Cooper Kupp doesn't play. I think that is huge advantage for Aaron Rodgers.
And Drew Brees had 11 broken ribs, a collapsed lung, rotator cuff, and a foot. Ain't no long time ago. So do you telling me? So you telling me? So you telling me in 3 weeks, 11 broken ribs, rotator cuff, foot, all that heals up?
I don't know.
And see, the thing is,
what does Shannon Sharpe always tell? If you play, you play.
Yeah,
no more excuses.
I understand.
You can't make excuses.
But Skip, but here's the thing: the difference between your knee. You running on the outside, but you're not competing against anybody.
Just against me.
Yeah, imagine if somebody was chasing you and that knee hurting.
All I know is that when the knee is gone, it's just gone.
Oh, yeah, I'm bone on bone on my left knee. You ain't got to tell me anything about the knee. I know how it feels.
So the point is, I think Aaron Rodgers got a great break.
So Tom Brady ain't getting no break. Tom Brady ain't getting no break.
He got a little break, but I think Aaron got a bigger one. I was barely touched. That's what he said. Barely touched.
If Aaron Rodgers had gotten 3 turnovers from Jared Goff, and they had gotten 4 turnovers, Skip, I say, you know what? You're right.
Well, he got sacked 4 times, Jared Goff did.
Turnovers. Think about that. Turnovers, putting you up in great field position.
You should have
20-yard line.
You should have won it 40-14, but you didn't.
That was the number 1 defense in football they were going against, right?
Well, it used to be.
The number 1 scoring defense, number 1 in total defense, and I think number 1 in pass defense.
Used to be. Yep.
You see what you did?
99 problems.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we can all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
Pro Football Focus has named Josh Allen their breakout player of the year. Allen has come a long way to make the AFC Championship this season. His first 2 seasons, he finished in 40th out of 41 in completion percentage. And this past season, he turned things around and finished all the way up at 4th. So, Shannon, how do you explain this dramatic turnaround?
Skip, guys that are really good, and they normally take this step. By their 3rd year, Skip, you've heard a lot of people say this, by their 3rd year, you'll have a pretty good indication of what the guy is and what direction he's headed in. Now, somebody, sometimes guys, they move that up. We look at a situation like Patrick Mahomes, Skip. His 2nd year, he was an MVP, threw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. You look at Lamar Jackson in his 2nd season, he was a unanimous MVP. So sometimes guys bump that up. But you could see there was a reason why Skip, they took this kid, what, the 5th pick in the draft? Buffalo did, out of Wyoming. And the only person I ever heard of that's come out of Wyoming was a basketball player, Finis Dimbo. When he did that number on UCLA, Skip, I think back in, 81, 82? Might be a little later than that. He dropped 40 on their head. So that was the only person I had never heard of a football player coming out of Wyoming. But when you take a guy out of one of these small schools, they's like, this kid got some talent. It's probably just unpolished. So if we can get him taught up, get some people around him, he can be pretty good, Skip. So he speaks about how he worked on his mechanics because he was not very accurate his rookie year, but he got better. He got better from 1st to 2nd, and he got exponentially better between 2nd and 3rd. And I know everybody keeps saying he got Stephon Diggs. Does people realize Stephon Diggs had 63 catches last year in 15 games? Josh Allen doubled him up, 127. When he threw the ball other than somebody than Stephon Diggs, he still completed 70% of his passes, 29 touchdowns. So this notion, I think it goes both ways. Stephon Diggs definitely helped Josh Allen, but Josh Allen is going to make Stephon Diggs a lot of money, Skip, because if I'm not mistaken, his contract's up. But you can just say, Skip, he has it all. He's big, arm talented, he's mobile. So there's nothing not to like about this kid. And I don't believe, Skip, this is a blip on the radar. This might be the new Brady Manning with him and my homeboy, because it looks like the way they're built and the way they're set up, Skip, they're built for the long haul. They're built to do this for a while.
So you're saying that Josh Allen will become Peyton Manning?
No, that's not.
Well, that's what you said. They're the new Brady Manning, and so
As far as what we think, the two best quarterbacks in the AFC fighting it out. One of y'all somebody gonna have to get left home. Somebody get left home because I'm sending your butt packing like that. Skip, you can't. When somebody said, when we say that next bird of Magic, that doesn't mean necessarily they're going to be, so you try to say he going to be Magic Johnson, he going to 9 finals in 12 years, or he going to be the next Larry Bird, he going to win 3 consecutive MVPs. That's not what it means, Skip. It's just
Okay, I got it. My turn. In my career, my lengthy career, I have never seen anything like the turnaround that Josh Allen experienced or showed us this year. I'm dumbfounded, I'm baffled, I'm lost over it, because I was blessed in my career to have become very close to the great Bill Walsh. I think he's the greatest coach ever. And I spent a whole lot of time as a young columnist in this business around Tom Landry. And those two great coaches taught me this, that you cannot coach or teach accuracy in a quarterback. They either have it, they're born with it, or they don't have it. You can't dredge it out of them. You can't show them how to be more accurate, because it's just something, it's the hand-eye coordination gift that you can either do it or you cannot.
Right.
Josh Allen just exploded that concept, because all I've heard from people, I've heard the same thing, Terry Bradshaw here at Fox, Troy Aikman here at Fox, that they often say you can't coach it. You either are accurate or not. And both of them have had some
accuracy problems.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've had some issues with Josh Allen. Accuracy, and I think that was the draft.
Not Troy. Troy was pinpoint accurate.
Okay. No, Troy was pinpoint accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about they have had some issues with Josh Allen, because I believe that was the draft Troy broke down, where he actually graded each of the quarterbacks.
Yes.
And he had some issues with Josh Allen's accuracy, as did I at Wyoming. Everybody did.
Right.
Which is why when they took him 5th, it's like, okay, good luck, because he's a specimen. He's 6'5", what do we say, 245?
240, easy.
Okay, easy. And he can move, and he's fearless, but can he consistently throw it to where he looks? Can he see it and deliver the ball to that pinpoint spot?
I think what he's gotten better at, Skip, is anticipating. Because a lot of time college guys, Skip, they want the guy to be wide open. And guys are normally wide open in college. But if you notice, Skip, a lot of big arm quarterbacks suffer from accuracy because they don't know when to put it on and when to take it off.
Okay.
They throw everything with the same speed.
Got it. I got it. So in uncatchable passes, in his first 2 years, Josh Allen was worst in the league. At 26% of his throws were deemed uncatchable. This year, he's improved to 5th in the league in uncatchable passes. That's just an extraordinary, impossible turnaround. I've never seen anything like that.
Right.
Okay, so you're discounting the impact of Stephon Diggs.
No, I didn't discount. I didn't discount it.
All right, but you said, well, he still threw to others and completed 70% of his passes. By the way, look at his accuracy from year to year. He's 53% his rookie year, 59% the second year, and now he's 69%, which was 4th best in the league. That's impossibly great. I read that he went to a throwing guru, or he worked on his mechanics. I got that. But can you learn it? Can you teach it? Can you coach it? I've been taught no. So now I look at Stephon Diggs' impact. Who led the National Football League in targets this year among all receivers? Stephon Diggs, and pretty sizable.
Oh, you got 127 catches. You got probably 160, 170 targets.
166 targets. Actually, it was 6 more than DeAndre Hopkins had from Kyler. 166 targets. It was 59 more targets than Cole Beasley got in the Buffalo offense. So he's just getting the wide bulk of the targets.
But here's the thing, Skip. You got a slot receiver that's second, which the throws are a lot closer. So that's going to bump your percentage up.
Okay. So a year ago, John Brown led this team in targets. He was hurt much of this year.
Right.
But he had a grand total of 115 last year. All of a sudden, it goes up to 166 for Stephon. And I don't blame Josh Allen, because That man against Baltimore the other night, I just sat back at the end of the game and said Stephon Diggs was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Because he just takes the game over. He is uncoverable.
He makes tough contested catches, Skip. He's tremendous run after the catch. He can get deep. He can get intermediate. He runs great routes. But, Skip, and like you said, that's the thing that you want to see. Okay, you come in as a raw rookie, and you say, okay, these are some of his limitations. And I remember talking to Ozzie for my podcast, Skip.
Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzie Newsome, the general manager. He's still in Baltimore.
And obviously a Pro Football Hall of Famer as a tight end.
As a tight end. And he said, you know, a lot of times people keep telling you, well, he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't do that. Well, what can he do? So we're going to find out what he can do, and we'll put him in that situation so he can succeed. Josh Allen probably said, you know what, my accuracy needs to improve. Let me go see someone that could possibly help me, and let's see what can happen. Okay, I got Stephon Diggs. They probably got together at some point in the offseason, Skip. They're like, oh, okay, I like this. And Cole Beasley.
And all the reports are that they hit it off. They really clicked with each other. They like to play video games. They have fun with each other.
Right.
And clearly, Josh Allen began to trust Stephon Diggs like he's never trusted a receiver. So when he sees, and he's 14, I believe he's 14.
Yes.
So he sees 14, the confidence rises because I can throw it to 14, and maybe I don't have to throw it pinpoint to 14 because he's just going to catch it.
He's going to make those tough contested. Right? And everybody, Skip, all quarterbacks. I mean, Peyton had Marvin, and Tom had, it was Wes Welker, and then it was Edelman and Amendola. He had Gronk. You have certain guys. DeAndre Hopkins has always been that. Larry Fitzgerald was that. Michael Irvin was that for Troy Aikman. When Troy needed the catch, they're going to call that. They're going to call the bang aid, or they're going to call that speed out.
Trust. Just absolute trust.
Yes.
When in doubt, 8 went to 88. It's just, and it started to happen here. It's like Mahomes and Kelsey.
Yes.
He just, when in doubt, he just looks for Travis Kelsey.
Yes.
Or Aaron and Devontae.
Yeah.
He just looks for Devontae.
In situations, Skip, if I'm smart, if I play in Kansas City, if it's third and they're crucial, I'm doubling Kelsey and I'm doubling Tyreek. Well, I'm going to make him go to Sammy Watkins or Mecole Hardman or Marcus Robinson.
Well, I might triple Kelsey because Kelsey's just going to get open and he's going to throw it to him.
But you can't, but he has a lot of confidence in Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs has definitely helped. But I think Josh Allen, so do you believe this is a trend? Do you believe he's going to not be this for years to come? Because I believe he's going to be this.
I do think Stephon turned his career around because he turned his confidence around in the back of his mind. And remember, Stephon caught 77% of his targets.
Right.
So that's his career high. So he's catching 8 out of 10 passes. He's just going to catch it.
Right.
So I think it helps if he could keep Stephon if they're going to.
Oh, he got no choice. I mean, you gave I think, did you give up a first rounder for him?
Yeah.
Because at the end of I think they took Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
In his place.
Well, it was worth it.
Oh, yeah. But you definitely going to pay him, Skip, because you still got Josh Allen on that rookie deal. Now, it's going to come due.
It will.
So you know the cutoff point for these guys moving forward is $40 million.
Yep.
That's the cutoff. So don't even think about those 38, 39. It's $40 million.
I feel like you're an agent on the side. Trying to help.
No mercy.
Well, Anthony Davis said the Lakers are feeling some pressure to win tonight against the Bucs after blowing a 14-point fourth-quarter lead against the Warriors earlier this week. In the loss, LeBron had 3 missed three-pointers and 3 turnovers late in the game, while also missing the potential game winner. So, Skip, I have to start with you here. How concerned should the Lakers be about that collapse?
Shannon, Sharpe. I have bad news for you. They should be very concerned because what happened against Golden State was not just a rare occurrence for LeBron James. This is not a blip. It's been a trend. So I'm just going to lay the stats in the middle of the table. So if we go back over LeBron's last 20 games of fourth quarters, and that dates all the way back through last year's NBA Finals, from the floor, just overall, he's shooting 42% in fourth quarters over the last 20 games. Obviously, he's a 50% overall shooter from the floor in his career in full games. And from the three-point line in those last 20 fourth quarters, he's only making 23%. And for his career in all games, regular season, he's a 34% career three-point shooter. Okay, now it gets much worse if you just do his last 7 games of fourth quarters, dating back to the San Antonio loss at home. He's just been a disaster. So overall, in those 7 fourth quarters, he is 5 of 24. 5 of 24, that's 21%. And that ranks 237th over that stretch of fourth quarters in the league. From 3, he's 2 of 12 in his last 7 fourth quarters, which is 17%. That ranks overall 162nd in the league over that 7-game stretch. So, to me, LeBron's last 7 games of fourth quarters are the best kept secret in basketball, because I don't hear a peep about this trend from anybody, because to me, the blind witnesses, and there are billions of those out there led by Shannon, they see no evil. It's like these numbers have been scrubbed from his internet record. They've been expunged. They've been buried forever. Nobody acknowledges what's been happening in fourth quarters to LeBron James, because I still hear his name, even up to yesterday, in the middle of the early MVP race in the NBA. His PER has fallen all the way to 23rd in the league, which by his standards is scary bad. I mean, even Paul George has a better PER than LeBron James. And if you look at Paul George's fourth quarter numbers this year, man, he's 50% from the field, 44% from 3, and has made all 12 of his free throws. So Paul George is playing at a high level, much higher than LeBron. So I will now hand it over to you to explain to me how these numbers just don't matter.
Well, without no explanation. They don't need to, first of all, to answer your big question and what Jenny asked, they don't need to be concerned. LeBron James is playing the fewest minutes per game, the fewest fourth quarter minutes per game in his NBA career. He's also working with Dennis Schroeder now being the primary ball handler, and Marc Gasol. You told me that the other guys needed, when the Clippers were losing, they talk about they needed reps. They need reps. LeBron and them still have tied for the best record in the NBA. But for some reason, there's something sinister going on here that we don't want to talk about. Maybe they need reps. I'm not saying LeBron has not shot the ball well this year. He hasn't shot the ball well in the fourth quarter. That's nothing. I mean, if you're watching the games, you see that. But we see, and I believe, I understand what they're trying to do. They want to make sure it was a fast turnaround. And LeBron, we can't be playing you 36, 37 minutes early in the season. So they're trying to keep the minutes low. I get all that.
Not missing games, though. He hadn't missed a game.
No.
He hasn't sat out a game.
Now, and I don't really understand. I don't know what they're going to do, Skip, as far as the All-Star game. I'm sure they're going to have, okay, you get selected and you'll probably choose up teams. You're not going to play because I think it's going to probably end up being called off, but you're going to probably get a whole week off there. And I think they're just trying to get to that point, and then LeBron James, and then you'll see those minutes all of a sudden from going from the low 32s to maybe 33, 34, 35. I don't see him playing averaging more than 35 minutes per game. But he hasn't shot the ball well, Skip. Even with the ball fourth quarter lead, the Lakers have the 6th best net fourth quarter rating. So it's not like they've been an overall bad team. They haven't. They lost. They got reckless with the basketball. They stopped playing defense like the Nets didn't do the entire night, play defense. They didn't play defense for one quarter, and it cost them the game. They also turned the ball over at a high clip, cost them the game. But I'm not concerned about LeBron James. I'm not concerned about Anthony Davis. I'm not concerned about the Lakers. The Lakers will be just fine. They're working on their rotation. They're working on getting reps, getting continuity. And when that thing, watch it click.
So, against Golden State, is it fair to say LeBron was starting to lose some confidence? Maybe not in himself, but maybe in his team?
No, I think the biggest thing what happened with LeBron, and it happens to a lot of guys, is that when they don't get the calls that they think they deserve, and the superstars believe they deserve every call, doesn't matter how big or small it is, they believe they deserve the call. And when LeBron didn't start getting the calls, I think he started getting frustrated. I think he started to force some things that he didn't have to do. That's natural. I'm not concerned about LeBron James.
Okay.
You shouldn't be concerned about LeBron James either.
Well, if I could remind everyone what happened in the last 4.5 minutes of the Golden State game.
They lost
at Staples. If we could just remind everybody. Here we go. Here's LeBron. Whoops, it's going to shoot a 3. LeBrick. Let's try LeBron. You have to dribble before you go. You're traveling. Whoops. Okay, he was mad at Schroeder on that. Then
no, what matters, Schroeder? He just threw the ball to Kyle Kuzma right there.
Away. LeBron, you have to dribble before you run. Okay, there's a 3rd turnover, and then here's a nothing but backboard. Nothing but backboard? Come on, LeBron. And here's the last shot. This was a tough one. Draymond kind of played a little bit of defense, his business partner on him, and he just missed it. But it was a clean look. It was probably the best look the best miss that he took.
And I seen a guy that missed 2 shots now that could have won games. I saw a guy, you say the best player on the planet, he had in 2 games. In the last 5, he had 2 shots to win the game. He done missed both of them now. And mid-range, you say he the best mid-range game?
Oh, you mean the one last night?
Yeah, the last night.
He wanted the ball and Kyrie didn't give him the ball?
No, in regulation. I'm talking about the regulation. He got it. He missed the shot.
Oh, that's the end of the first.
Yeah, the regulation.
Oh, at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had that. And then remember, he missed the other one. Remember? He got it. He had 2 cracks at it. Kyrie missed it. He got the rebound, missed it again. You saw that, right? That's 2 of them.
Who would you rather take the last shot, Kevin Durant or LeBron James?
I want the ball in Go James' hands.
You want the ball in the best player on the planet's hands.
Yeah.
Because he showed you in back-to-back NBA Finals that he was the MVP in LeBron's face in his house.
All I'm saying is one guy has made more clutch shots than KD. One guy has more finals and finals MVPs and regular season MVPs than KD. Now, that's what you say. That when you give me the Jordan argument, that's what you tell me. You tell me one guy has this, and this. So, therefore, Shannon, he can't be that. Now, on the flip side, one guy is doubling him up all across the board. And now he better. Now, I need you to pick one side, pick one lane instead because you sideswiping me.
I'm staying in it that Kevin Durant is unstoppable right now.
Can I ask you a question?
He's at his peak.
Let me ask you a question.
He's 7 feet tall, and he shoots mid-range like nobody I can remember since Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yeah, Bayless, if you don't mind me asking, tell me the time that you heard the comparison, the GOAT comparison between Kevin Durant and Michael Jordan.
I don't care about that because there should be no GOAT comparison because the GOAT is the GOAT.
Okay,
it's over and done.
You know who the GOAT is.
The only blasphemy that I ever hear is LeBron is better than Jordan.
Let me ask you a question. How many times have you ever heard that Kevin Durant is the second greatest basketball player to ever play?
Well, he's just getting started. You give him about 8 more years.
Oh, you'll play 8 more years?
Yeah.
You're going to play 8 more years?
Sure, at this level.
8 more years. So that'll be 22 seasons.
Remember, Kevin's not a leaper by nature, so he's so long and so gifted.
22 seasons.
He'll be nailing these 10, 12-foot jumpers for 8 more years. Sure.
Long as they're not to win the game, he'll be
more
fine.
Championships he's going to win. But he could get to 6 at this rate.
he ain't going to beat us. He ain't going to have more than us.
We're seeing a budding dynasty in Brooklyn right now.
Okay. Yeah,
Greatest show on earth.
Okay.
Nothing but nets.
You saw what happened to the Ewing dynasty. Oh, Jock Ewing, who shot JR?
Nothing.
It lasted a long time, though.
Creative. Interesting there.
No mercy.
Well, the Packers not only lost big to the Buccaneers week 6, 38-10, but they also had a difficult time protecting Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers was blitzed on a whopping 50% of pass plays through the first 3 quarters of the loss and was pressured on a season-high 30.8% of all pass plays in the game. It was Rodgers' only multi-interception game this season, and his completion percentage of 45 was his lowest this season. Former NFL quarterback Orlando Scandrick is joining us now. Orlando, will the Packers be able to fix this?
Absolutely. The easy fix. You will go back and look at that game. The Packers were up 10-0 with the ball, getting ready to complete a good stroll in the park. Aaron makes a mistake. Dean anticipates, guesses right, pick 6, changed the whole game. I don't look for Aaron to make those type of mistakes. And the X factor is going to be the weather. You can tell me what you want about Tom Brady playing in New England for 19 years, but when you've been living in 89 degrees and you got to go play in 18 degrees, it's a totally different story.
I agree. I think what happened was it wasn't the fact that they blitzed him, it was how they blitzed him. They brought a lot of double linebacker. They lined up Levante David on the outside and pressured him. A lot of times they were bringing linebackers and corners, and they were dropping Shaq, and they was dropping JPP, dropping Sue out in the passing lanes, knowing the ball's going to have to come out quick. I think these are adjustments, as you mentioned, these are adjustments that the Packers can make rather easily. But the thing is, the question that I want to have is that will the Packers run the football? And I'm not necessarily saying they have to run the footballs like they did against the Rams because I don't see that happening. But you cannot let a defense play the run on the way to your quarterback because if they do that, that's what happens. The game gets out of hand in a hurry. And we saw what happened last week. New Orleans had dominated Tampa in the previous 2 matchups. But what they do, they turn the football over. That's what happened in the first matchup. Green Bay, even though they was getting pressured, it wasn't until they turned the football over, back-to-back possessions, it snowballed, got out of hands. And at that point in time, there are very few quarterbacks, very, very few, that when they have multiple turnovers early in the ball game, they're able to overcome that because that's, you're like, man, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful.
Yeah, I only think there's one quarterback right now that I'm comfortable with early turnovers in the game.
Homeboy.
You know who that is.
No, homeboy. Everybody knows about him, Skip.
If you really want to dive deeper into this, and Skip, I know you fuming. You can bet another case of dudes, and then I'll use it. I'll use it for Shannon's dead again. But if you really think about it, Tampa's defense is really, really shaky. Aaron Jones is the X factor. He's great at running the ball. He's great at catching the ball at the backfield. And, Adam Lazard has come on. Valdez Scantling is, their deep threat. He's catching the ball. And Devontae Adams is completely healthy. And he's rolling. And he's on a different level. And I think at this stage in Aaron's career, he's ready to do whatever it takes to win. And, Green Bay's defense, they're equipped with pass rushers. They have long corners. They got Jair Alexander, who's a great corner. They got some ball hawk and safeties. And that I just don't think that Tampa Bay is committed to running. I think they faced a hobbled Drew Brees indoors. A lot of things went their way. The Jared Cook turnover in the third quarter obviously helped them swing the momentum back their way. And then Drew consistently threw it to the other team. But I don't look to see 12 on the green team do that. It's going to be a very exciting matchup, but I think this is the end of the road for Thomas, terrific Tom, Green Bay in 4 quarters.
So what do you got? Packers by 21?
No, I got Packers by 10. South Florida and Green Bay is totally different.
Will you give me 9 for another case?
I ain't giving you 9. No, that's a sucker bet. And they always, when I grew up, they told me when you walk in the room, if you don't know who the sucker is, it's you. You gonna get that?
Well, the sucker I'm talking to just said they're going to win by 10.
I didn't say 10. I said they win easy. I mean, I say maybe 10, but I ain't gonna give you 10. I'll give you 7.
Oh,
everybody knows.
Lucky number 7.
What I gave? What I gave him? I gave 7 for 5.
So let's go back to that fateful day, October 18th, in 88-degree weather down in Tampa Bay, and you're trying to tell me, young Mr. Scandrick, that it was actually sort of a blip, not a trend, that Aaron made a mistake on the out route to Devontae. There's a corner blitz. I got to get rid of it a little quicker than I want to. And Jamel Dean picks it and houses it. And then he comes right back the next time, and it's another third one. This is the third down, 3rd and 3. And he throws it the other direction against, I think it was a corner blitz. That's what we figured. I think it's Murphy Bunting.
Bunting Murphy.
Yeah. And it gets popped up in the air, and Mike Edwards almost houses it, takes to the 2-yard line. So if at that point, obviously, I was rooting for Brady, and I thought, silly me, I thought Aaron Rodgers would get it back together and make a game of it because it was only 14-10 Tampa at that point. And guess what happened? After that, he had the ball 8 more times, and 7 of those times he punted. And at the end of the half, he got sacked by Sue, who's been in his head his whole career, and they just kneeled out the rest of the clock.
Wait. His whole career?
Yeah.
Oh, the Detroit Lions ain't been relevant none of his career.
Okay, but so Sue scares Aaron Rodgers. Aaron actually, after that game in Tampa Bay, Aaron tried to actually bury the hatchet with Sue by asking him to meet him after the game to hug it out.
No, he didn't ask him.
What are you talking about?
He said, no, we
hug it out. Who's ever hugged it out after a game?
Aaron's a nice guy. A nice guy with a good upbringing.
Yeah.
Got some terrific parents.
Yeah.
Was raised the right way. And I don't want to cut you off, but let's just go back. He threw the first interception, and Aaron Rodgers is a hell of a competitor. And it became kind of a thing where he didn't want to lose, so he forces it into Devontae the next time. And then, the game kind of got away from him. But what I will promise you is, in Green Bay, Wisconsin, in Lambeau Field, they won't get out ahead for him. The stage is not too big for him. This is his chance to take the torch. He will take the torch. I'm saying Packers in the Super Bowl versus my homie.
Against who?
My homie.
Oh, your homie. Okay.
Yeah, homeboy.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, look, here's the point. Todd Bowles will come after you. And once he gets you on the run, he will try to bury you. And that's what happened in this game. Because through the first 3 quarters, Tampa blitzed 50% of the snaps. So every other snap, they're coming with another blitz. And Aaron Rodgers has usually eaten blitzes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in his career. But that day, he did not. And that day, he had the best pass-blocking left tackle in all of pro football, and David Bakhtiari, who is no longer able to play because he's gone for the year. Man, you don't think Todd Bowles is going to come after Aaron again? And one thing, Aaron has some LeBron in him. I compare them. He's got some front runner in him. If you can hit him in the mouth once early, and they are highly capable, he starts to flinch.
Like Tom Brady.
He starts to see ghosts.
Like Tom Brady.
I'll take Tom Brady's toughness, mental and physical, over Aaron's any day of the week.
Skip the man drop like hot rocks.
Okay.
When somebody get close to him, I mean, the guy breaks the line of scrimmage and he drops down. So stop playing. This is what we know.
Though.
I heard this.
You don't want to get hit.
In 15 games, Aaron Rodgers had 48 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. In the one game against Tampa, he threw two picks and 0 interceptions. Now, we saw
and 0 touchdowns.
0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Yeah, excuse me. We saw what Tyler Heineke got 23 points. We saw Taylor Heineke. What's his name?
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. Heineke. Taylor Heineke got 23 points.
Okay.
Drew Brees, as banged up as he was, got 20 points.
Yeah, but how did he get him on a trick play by Jameis and a 54-yard punt return?
So do you believe?
But they also left a lot of points on the field.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe Mike Thomas caught the first touchdown. He just wasn't challenged. They got to the red zone several times. They settled for field goals. Sean Payton decided to get cute when they were also on the other side. I think they were on Tampa 35, get a 5-yard penalty, end up punting it. But if you really just want to look at this thing in a microcosm, or you want to look at this thing in a huge bowl, or however you want to look at it, you want to look through a stethoscope, it's just time to pass the torch.
It's over, Skip. You hear?
Over?
Yeah, Rodgers.
Tom Brady threw 40 touchdown passes this year, and it's time to pass the torch.
Is that more than 48? Is that more than 48?
Well, 40 at 43 is pretty great.
Well,
who had the higher degree of difficulty? Brady starting over in Tampa Bay or Aaron Rodgers?
But see, he keeps saying he's starting over, but look at what he's got. He made it start. If you want to impress me, go to Cincinnati and do what he's doing. Don't take to it, because you tell me Pro Football Focus is the Bible. Pro Football Focus said the receiving core at Tampa was the #1 receiving core in all of football. That's what Tom Brady linked up with.
Did any of them make the Pro Bowl this year?
Did Tom Brady make the Pro Bowl this year?
No, he should have.
No, he shouldn't have.
Oh,
no, he
stop it. You know it, and I know it. They vote like 5 weeks before the season's over, and Brady had a December to remember.
They will vote too.
He brought this team to a boil right on schedule.
Yeah, but let me reel this back in. So the year Dez caught it, we all remember that year.
Do we?
Do you remember the resilience of Aaron?
He had a full
Do you
cap.
remember the resilience?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then do you remember the year of the 3rd and 26, who my Uncle Shay tried to pin on me? It was
No, I didn't pin on you.
Earlier in that year, we went down to Lambeau. Zeke ran all over him, but it just seemed like when we got in the playoffs and we got them in Dallas, they jumped all over us. #1 seed, 13-3. They jumped all over us, and it was a totally different. It was a total. But we stormed back though. We fought. We got it to a game.
You did.
And we gave up a big 3rd down, and then Mason Crosby hit a 60-yard field goal, like an extra point. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But it was just a totally different Aaron Rodgers. It was a totally different, and I think he's on a mission this year. And if you really want to look at this thing wholehearted, Aaron was a part of getting Mike McCarthy out of there, and since he's got him out of there, he's been to 2 NFC championships, and he's on a mission to get to a Super Bowl and win another Super Bowl in his mind.
So help me out, young Mr. Scandrick. My memory gets a little foggy here, but just a couple of years back, it was overtime in the cold in Kansas City, and Tom Brady, he was only 41 then. He completed converted 3 straight 3rd and 10s with 3 straight completions.
We had a defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed, and now they got a defense, and it's totally different. And there's Gronkowski is walking out there; he ain't even running no more. And they're not throwing on air. And to be quite frank, the pass rushers that were on that Kansas City team, opposed to the Darius Smith and Preston Smith, it's different.
Weren't you on the field that day?
No, I wasn't. Nope. That was the tail end of my career. I was over there with a hot chocolate. I had the best seat in the house.
Aaron Rodgers, the last 2 years, 72 tubs, 10 INTs.
Yeah, but he hadn't played Brady.
Hey, Brady, your day coming.
Here we go.
Well, Aaron Rodgers wanted this matchup. He wanted it at home. And yes, we are expecting cold temperatures, snow as well. It's going to be perfect football in Green Bay. Orlando, we appreciate your time.
No mercy.
The NFL playoffs continue Sunday with the NFC Championship presented by TurboTax Live as Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Pre-game coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Last week against the Browns, sideline cameras caught Tyreek Hill shoving Chiefs assistant coach Greg Lewis. Tyreek offered an explanation of the incident this week to reporters, so take a listen.
A lot of people seen it as me, like, being a hothead on the sideline, being a diva, you could say, but it wasn't nothing like that. It was just I'm fired up and just trying to give the guys energy, you know? So, because as you seen, like think about it. Like, I just wish people, I mean, everybody would just think about it. If I would have really pushed my coach, everybody would have been holding me back. So it was just like one of those fired up pushing, we laughing, we giggling. You know, we just enjoying, you know, each other, you know? So that's all it was.
Okay. All right. Well, Shannon, are you buying his explanation?
I guess I'm about to take him at his word, Skip. Look, there's a lot of emotion on the sidelines, especially come playoff games, Skip, because we know there ain't no more Sundays. You lose this game, it's going home. You can clean out your locker on Monday. You got the hefty bag. Hey, man, what's your plans? Plans going to be a little different because of COVID, Skip, so you ain't really discussing plans. All right, man, I'll holler at you. Talk to you sometime. So there's a lot of an emotion on the sideline. I was always cautious because for me, I ain't want nobody shoving me, and I wasn't shoving anybody. That's how I operate. And I don't think I didn't see people shove. And I heard coaches say, I'll whip you know what. I'm like, hold on. Man, you're 55, 60 years old talking about you going to whip some 25, 26-year-old. Yep. But, Skip, that's just the emotion of the game, and it brings out that competitive spirit in you. So I don't know the relationship between Tyreek and Greg Lewis. I know Greg Lewis a little bit. He caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl, Skip, and I think he was the one that caught he caught a Hail Mary from Brett Favre when he was in Minnesota.
He did.
And so, but I don't really know a whole lot about him. But I can
Remember,
see
he caught the late touchdown pass from Donovan
in the Super Bowl
that actually made it a game.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can see Tyreek says he views him like an uncle because the age is not. It's not like one of these
26 to 40.
Right.
Tyreek's only 26.
Right.
When I looked that up, I thought he was 28 at least. He's only 26
only
years old.
26 years of age. Yeah, you got your work cut out for you. My homeboy, 25. But anyway, so Skip, you know what? Without context, without knowing, I can see if it was, he shoved him after the drive stalled, and they ended up having to kick a field goal. Mm-hmm. So Skip, without
he had just run a deeper route, like a corner route, and it looked like he had a step.
Right.
But Henne was in the game at that point.
Henne ain't throwing the lesson wide open.
No. No.
So Skip, I'm going to have to take him at his word. It's hard, but like I said, in a situation like that, and I didn't see, you know, we don't see our camera. Did he say something to Tyreek coming out the field? Did Tyreek say, I really don't know. So I'm going to take Tyreek at his word that they have that type of relationship. He's trying to get everybody fired up. But hell, how you get the coach fired up? He can't play.
I am not buying that they were laughing, they were giggling, and they were enjoying each other. They were not doing that.
Not in that moment.
No. I will give Tyreek this much. Greg Lewis didn't even turn to face him.
He
just
basically didn't even acknowledge it.
It's like it had happened many times or sometimes before, where it's just like, just ignore it.
Yeah.
Just let it be.
Yes.
Okay, so Tyreek says, a lot of people have seen me as being a hothead. Yeah, he can be.
Yeah.
I don't know about diva, but he's a hothead.
Right.
So I'm not going to belabor this, but just for the record, he has had anger management issues.
Right.
Because when he was at Oklahoma State, he was arrested for domestic violence. Mm-hmm. And because of that arrest, he was removed from the program.
Right.
And because of that arrest, he was not invited to the NFL Combine.
Correct.
And then 2 years ago, there was another investigation of potential domestic violence involving, it was child abuse of his 3-year-old son, because the kid wound up with a broken arm, and then the investigation went on, and he was finally cleared of it. But for a while, the Chiefs suspended him.
Right.
It was their doing, not the NFL.
Right.
The NFL did not suspend him.
Correct.
But anger management issues. So is it possible he just lost it for a moment and he just can't control his emotion and anger, and he just acts out with a quick shove of the coach. And it was weird that CBS just caught it as they were going to commercial break. It's like, did I just see what I think I just saw?
And that's what happens, Skip, is that there's so many more cameras now as opposed to when you actually covered when you was around the game all the time for the Cowboys and when I actually played. There isn't really anything that you can do on the field or on the sideline, Skip, in which a camera's not going to catch it now.
Yep.
It's just too many of them, and people want, and fans want the access. And now with COVID and there are no fans, Skip, they're going to give you even more access.
Yep.
So you doing things like that, it's not gonna go unnoticed. And you know, like I said, I've seen guys walking up the field and the coach says something and he's like, "What'd you say?" I said, "Do you know what job?" "All right, I'm gonna do my you know what job." Emotions are high. Come playoff time, Skip, it's a different level. I mean, the preseason there's a level, regular season there's a level, and as you go into playoff, Skip, man, people on eggs, people on eggshells. The nerves are frazzled. Coaches that wouldn't normally say anything.
So this organization, starting with Andy Reid, all the way up to Clark Hunt,
right?
They took a shot with this young man.
Yes.
And it was high risk, but high reward.
They did the same thing with Kareem Hunt.
They did. And they've had some history of doing this. And I'm sure a lot of their fans were not happy with them when they even gave Tyreek a shot.
Well, Skip, the thing that scared Kansas City, you remember they had the incident where the player not only took his girlfriend's life, he took his own life. So they're going to, at the first crack of this, we're going to move the situation. You see with Tyreek, I mean, not with Tyreek, but with Kareem Hunt, they was like, okay, Kareem said this. Once that video came out, bye.
Out. Have to. Yeah.
When the thing with Tyreek, the first thing they did, okay, bro, you got to go sit this down. We're going to have to sort this out. And if it doesn't come back in your favor, you're gone. So Kansas City is in a different stage than everybody can, Skip. When somebody goes to the length that the linebacker did, Skip, you on high alert when it comes to those situations. But I mean, it's just a bad look, Skip, because normally when we see receivers shove someone, people think diva. People think, oh, he can't control it.
Yeah.
But
I think there's probably a lot of truth in what you just said.
You know what I think happened, Skip? I think this has happened, and Greg Lewis, instead of giving it oxygen, he just looked the other way. Because if I come back at you, it's going to be, we're going to continue this thing to go. So I ain't going to give you oxygen. You should use that. Hey, what you want? Because he looked, but ain't nobody there to look. It wasn't another coach. It wasn't Andy there. He just looks over his shoulder like.
Yeah, right. So I feel safe in saying that any other receiver, even Devontae in Green Bay or DeAndre in Arizona, if they had shoved their receivers coach, that receivers coach is going to turn and face and respond, right?
Yes.
But it felt like Greg Lewis had been through this before enough. That's just Tyreek being Tyreek. And if I don't give it any fuel, he'll stop. Okay, so just ignore it.
Because, Skip, normally when somebody, even if somebody bumps into you, you're like, bruh, what's up? Skip, I was
but with Tyreek, if you turn and face and scold or respond.
And he's already, because he shoved you for a reason.
Yeah.
So he's already on the edge, Skip.
It might just go up in smoke right there.
Skip, I walked in there, I was going to CVS. And so I'm looking where I'm going, and the guy wasn't paying attention. He's on his phone. Skip, he bumps into me. You know what he tells me? Watch where I'm going.
Well, I'm going to guess he was about half your size.
Half my size. Okay. Say, God, give me strength. Because my sister said, Shannon, you need to just take it down. All right, you're right, my man. I'll watch where you're going.
Good for you.
Give me took everything. Give me took everything.
Turn that other cheek.
If I don't get up early in the morning to read my daily scripture, and I had took my 5 milligrams, and don't mess with me, I took 10 milligrams that day. Because if I had to...
I don't know how to rap out of that. I just don't know. All right.
No mercy.
Aaron Rodgers spoke with reporters yesterday and threw some shade at last season's doubters. The Green Bay QB said he heard a lot of comments last year about them being the worst 13-3 team that people had seen, but this year he hasn't heard the same chatter. He also talked about the lack of pressure this time around, and he dove into his future. Take a listen.
My future is a beautiful mystery, I think. The present is such a gift to just be able to stay in the moment and to have gratitude for being in a situation again and being with the guys and having fans with our stadium and maybe snow on an NFC Championship game. I mean, I'm going to enjoy these moments for sure and just not worry about what happens down the line.
Shannon, what is your takeaway from Rodgers' media session yesterday?
It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful thing, Skip.
Because it's over.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. I'm living today as if it's my last. And then I'll let whatever happens.
Or your first.
And I'll let it whatever happens after that. But I'm living it today. I'm in this moment, the present. That's sometimes, Skip, we get caught up. We can't let go of the past. We're so afraid to go into the future that we don't live today. And he said, hey. And I love Aaron. I love Raj. You see how he leaned back. He ain't up on tense, because a lot of times, Skip, you guy sits up and he tense. Raj leaned back and says, it's a beautiful mystery. He says, I'm in the present. I'm right now. So I got an opportunity to have an NFC Championship game in Lambeau Field. Might get snow. What more could I ask for? How could I worry about tomorrow when today is so beautiful? Love that.
Do you? Yeah, way to go. So, in my lengthy career, I have never, ever seen or heard a quarterback more confident before a championship game than this man is confident.
I love it.
He is smugly, serenely, publicly confident in ways even I am shocked that Aaron Rodgers would portray, because his body language is, I got this. It feels like it's a foregone conclusion that he is about to play in his second Super Bowl. This is the way a man talks before his second Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it feels like my stars have aligned. All is well, all is right, because I am, as he said last week, I'm the healthiest I've ever been at this stage of a season. I feel great. I was barely touched last week. My dream finally came true. Late in my career, I actually got a home NFC Championship game in potentially the snow against, guess who? A warm weather team from Tampa, Florida.
Isn't that what you want, Skip?
What a gift.
Don't you want? Or
Thank
you want?
you, God.
Or do you want? Oh, guys, come on, guys. It's so hard. I mean, each game is special. You're happy to be here. I'm in a new
there's
place.
no cliche.
It
feels like he is supremely confident that his line, without the best pass blocking left tackle in pro football, David Bakhtiari, will block up the blitzes all day long. They will keep him completely clean and dry in the snow. And he will then just confidently, effortlessly shred the Tampa pass defense.
Skip,
that's how it comes across.
How many times have we heard guys say it doesn't matter about you, it matters about me? And he's so confident in him.
Yeah.
He says it doesn't matter what you do. I'm gonna do me, and you can't see it. So the day is T minus 3 days and counting. 72 hours. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
And he went so far as to say that I don't feel any extra pressure going into this one. And I told you yesterday, he should feel 10 times the pressure that Brady does, because Brady just pulled off something nobody thought he could pull off. He got the sucking ears to the championship game in his first go-around with no preseason and no OTAs.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Aaron, you know why you don't feel any pressure? Pressure is what you feel when you don't know what the hell you're about to do or what you're about to embark upon. I never felt pressure taking a test, especially the ones I prepared for. It was the one I had no idea, or the teacher sprung that pop quiz on us. That's when I felt pressure. But when I went home and studied, which wasn't very often, but occasionally I did. But at college, when they say, hey, we got a pop quiz. Oh, Shay doing it up. Yes, give it to me, because I already know. I'm going to ace it, because I'm prepared for this moment, Skip. He's prepared a year. He's prepared a lifetime for these moments.
So think about this. No quarterback in the history of this league has ever played as many regular season games before finally achieving a home NFC or AFC Championship
Everybody
game.
ain't fortunate like Brady.
Huh.
They're playing that
Interesting.
cream puff division.
So he finally got his dream come true. He hasn't played in a Super Bowl except one time 10 years ago, and you're telling me there's no pressure to get to your second Super Bowl when you're chasing the GOAT of GOATs, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., and you get him head-to-head in your place, and you're feeling bliss. You have found your bliss.
What, Skip? There's no better feeling if I'm chasing a man and to have that man show up at my house.
Yeah.
I ain't got to go look for him.
In your backyard.
He showed up at my house.
In
Little
the
did he
snow.
know I've been looking for you all along.
Yeah.
And now you here.
You
And I'm
got
about to
Tom
do a number
Brady
on your
in your
butt.
backyard, and he has never experienced snow in his life.
No, hey,
He doesn't know what it feels like.
A-Rod said, I don't care if it's snow. He said, yeah, I prefer it be snow because I'm a polar bear.
Mm-hmm.
Polar bear feels much more comfortable in Antarctica or Alaska than they do in the San Diego Zoo.
Yeah. Huh.
We got you where we want you. We've been looking for you. You've been ducking and dodging. You're in the AFC. You're the other side. But you got to come see me. You ain't never seen nobody like me.
Poor Tom Brady. He grew up in San Francisco. There's no snow in San Francisco.
Man, that little guy, stop that.
It's advantage. Aaron, he got everything you could ever dream of, and it's a foregone conclusion. That's what I got from this media session.
The man said he comfortable.
Foregone conclusion that he is Super Bowl bound.
Let me ask you a question.
And I hope the Buccaneers are taking
Let me ask you a
notice.
question. Do you think Tom Brady thinks he's going to the Super Bowl, or does he think he's going to lose this game?
Well, I think he thinks it's a huge challenge to
It's
take
a challenge.
young team up
you
on
don't
the
think
road.
You don't think Aaron thinks it's a challenge?
Nope, not at all. I think he thinks, I got this.
But this is what Aaron
That it was just a fluky 88-degree afternoon on October 18th down in Tampa Bay. Fluky. I don't know what happened. He just had one of those weird, rare off days.
The greater the challenge, the greater the conquest.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we want. Skip, if I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm not going to Pikes Peak. I'm not going to Kilimanjaro. I want the beast. You know where I'm going. I'm going to Everest. So Aaron Rodgers says, I don't want any other quarterback in the NFC, my first home NFC Championship game. I want Everest. I want him.
Everest is 43 years old now.
We better walk over. And we gonna step on him like Sue did us.
Everest started over. It got relocated all the way down in Tampa Bay.
No, it didn't get rid of that.
They had to move that whole mountain down to Tampa Bay. You believe in that?
No, not.
And he had all these little molehills around him. He had to teach all the little molehills how to win.
I mean, think about this, Skip. Your first home championship game, they don't give you a Blake Bortles like somebody got in the championship game, a Blake Bortles, or you get a Phillip Rivers with a torn ACL.
Well, wait a second. Blake Bortles brought in the Saxonville defense as his bouncers and backup, right? And what did Brady do to it in the fourth quarter? 138 yards just in the fourth quarter with 12 stitches in the palm of his throwing hand.
Blake Bortles. Let that CD.
Blake Bortles led Tom Brady 20-10 early in the fourth quarter.
If you don't mind
that sink in.
If you don't mind me asking, can you tell the people at home where is Blake Bortles now playing?
I don't care. I don't care.
Isn't he the backup? Isn't he the backup in Tampa?
Aaron Rodgers got to Super Bowl compliments of Caleb Haney. That was his opposing quarterback in Chicago that afternoon against the Bears. Where is Caleb Haney now? Do you have any idea?
Man, Skip,
Caleb Haney?
First of all, Skip, that was a decade ago.
Well, that's how long it's been since he's been to a Super Bowl.
Let it sink
Tom
in.
goes every other year.
Let it sink in. Blake Bortles on the practice squad in Cleveland. That's the guy. He on the practice squad in Cleveland.
Well,
but your day coming.
Where's his defense?
Your day coming. Your day coming, Skip.
It is. It's already come and gone, according to Aaron.
No, just
it's
how
a done deal. I don't even know why we're going to play this.
You see how you talking? You talking about the Tampa and their defense like Aaron is talking about him in that offense.
You know what? They should just call this game off, and Fox should just put on the Wizard of Oz in that time slot. Just put the Wizard of Oz on because nobody wants to see this.
Your day coming.
It's a joke. It's a mismatch. It's over, says
your day coming.
These are two of the best of the best finally facing off on Sunday. I am here for it.
No mercy.
Despite Kyrie Irving returning for the Nets, they ended up losing by 12 in double overtime to the Cavs. Brooklyn's Big Three combined for nearly 100 points, but they had no answers for Collin Sexton, who put up 42 for the Cavs. So, Shannon, from what you saw last night, do you feel better or worse about Brooklyn's chances of winning the East?
I don't feel as strongly as I once did. For the simple fact, Skip, I think their defense has gotten their defense is worse than I thought it was going to be. If you're this bad defensively in the regular season, it's hard for me to see a scenario in which you pick it up and you get exponentially better come playoff time. They made the worst offensive basketball team look like the 2017 Warriors out there last night. And you keep telling me, oh, Collin Sexton did this. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Collin Sexton did that. That's not Jason Tatum. That's not Joel Embiid. That's not LeBron James. That's not Kawhi. That's not Paul George. You're absolutely right. Collin Sexton looks like Steph Curry last night.
And what did you tell me about James Harden as he finally got his wish and got to the Brooklyn Nets? You told me he was at least 15 pounds overweight.
What that got to do with anything?
And last night,
defense.
Steve Nash played him 51 minutes.
Okay.
51 minutes? That's absurd.
Okay, he played in 51 minutes, played KD 50 minutes, played Kyrie 48 minutes. How did that help them defensively?
This is the first time these three have ever played together on the same floor, and it wasn't just some preseason game. It actually counted. And two of the
January
players,
game counts now.
Well,
So
you traded two players, Jared Allen and Taurean Prince, who did numbers on you coming off the bench because they were inspired just like Cleveland was inspired.
How many All-NBA teams, how many All-Star games have those guys you just mentioned went to?
I don't know. Jared Allen probably going to go to one pretty soon.
Yeah, if he keeps playing them, he'll be a defensive player of the year.
Really? So you're going to leap to the conclusion that they play no defense after one game, the first game together, which was actually a cardio scrimmage, thanks to Steve Nash, who just played his big three all the way through 2 overtimes.
Skip.
The third overtime, they were dead in the water because their legs were dead underneath them. I couldn't believe they were still on the floor. And their best defenders sat on the bench last night because I keep telling you, don't sleep on Bruce
So why was he on
Brown.
the bench?
Because Steve Nash said it's their first night together. They need reps. They need to try to figure each other out on offense before they start figuring out defense.
Let me get this straight. You got 60 more games left in the season, and you want to try to condense it into one game. So you don't want to spread it.
You do.
No, Skip. Okay, I understand offensively, getting cohesion. What about defense?
Okay, I saw really high-level defense the last 5 or 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. I saw them clamp down and say, okay, enough of these guys. They're making shots out of their mind, including Larry Nance Jr., who's just bombing threes from everywhere. Jetty, remember Jetty?
Yeah, Jetty. Yeah.
And he's making 3. He made 4 last night. Every time I looked up, they'd make another 3 because they were out of their mind.
Because they're wide open.
No, they had one of those crazy shooting nights where everybody went in the twilight zone. But then guess what happened?
What happened?
The Nets said, that's enough of that. And they clamped down, they locked down, and they shut down the Cavaliers. And they went on a 28-15 run to end the game. And what did I tell you happened at the end of the game? Kyrie said, I got this. And in a tie game, if we could see it quickly, he drives on Collin Sexton. And Collin Sexton, here it is, the ball.
Collin Sexton lost the ball.
Yeah, he lost the ball. And here comes Kyrie. I got it. And he blows right by him. That's a foul. I immediately tweeted that was a foul on Collin Sexton, who leaned in, reached, and hacked Kyrie. Look, he grabs his leg.
No, he didn't.
And they called offensive foul on Kyrie, elbowing Collin Sexton in the mouth. What are you doing? And I immediately tweeted, that is not an offensive foul. And guess what? They go review it and overturn it. But guess what you get to do after you get the call overturned? You don't get to shoot the free throws like you should to win the game, and it would have been over.
You know what I noticed?
You have to jump ball.
You know what I noticed?
You get penalized for the referee blunder.
Were you going to mention about that walk that James Harden got and got to shoot 2 free throws? You didn't mention that.
Well, it didn't matter.
It would have mattered because we would have got the ball back and y'all have been behind. We would have had to hit a 3.
That was the end of the game right there. That was it. Period. End of story. And you wouldn't be able to gloat over there about, they don't play any defense. I saw high-level defense. I saw Kevin Durant block 4 shots last night. I saw James Harden, who led the league in steals last year, and now he's leading the league, and guess what? Assists.
Yeah. I saw Jetty Osman get 25. I saw the bench, Taurean Prince.
It's over. They play
17.
no defense. Their first night together. You're wrong about that.
Okay, what about Orlando? What about Orlando?
They didn't play Orlando last night.
I said the other night.
Oh, well, was Kyrie there? No.
Skip, I said when Kyrie comes back, they're going to be even smaller in the starting lineup than what they were when Kyrie was out.
Do you remember this guy named DeAndre Jordan?
Yes.
He actually starts for them, and he made 6 out of 7 shots last night. He can still rim protect at the highest level. And Steve Nash said, no, I owe it to Joe Harris because he was a starter while Kyrie was gone. I need to play. He played him 42 minutes, so they just went small the whole rest of the game.
That's what you have to do. That's what they get. Their best lineup is small.
No. Nope, you watch. DeAndre will be in there. And I'm going to tell you one more time, you better not sleep on Bruce Brown. He can defend at the highest level.
Well, he didn't defend last night. He should have defended last night.
Yeah,
but here's
got
the
to
thing.
play 7 minutes.
So you're going to start KD, Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, Harden, and Irving. So what you going to do with Joe Harris?
Well, he's not going to play 42 minutes, I can tell you that.
So how does he get his rhythm?
And speaking of a defensive liability, he looks like one to me.
So
the other guys are not.
You do realize Kyrie's guy got 42.
His guy got 15 in the second overtime after Kyrie has played 48 minutes.
That's on Kyrie.
Oh, stop it.
So
he'd been out for 7 games, and he comes back and plays 48 minutes?
Yeah.
Out of your mind.
You do realize he had 27 before he got those.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
He's
well,
really
it's just
good,
the
too.
start.
Oh, now he really good. So now he Dame Lillard. Now he Dame Dollar.
Well, sometimes
He looked like Dame Dollar last night.
He looks like
No mercy.
the Lakers are coming off blowing a double-digit fourth-quarter lead and now find themselves as a 1.5-point underdog against the Bucs, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Just hours ago, though, the Lakers were favored by 1.5 points. Before, it swung 3 points in Milwaukee's favor. So, Shannon, what's going on? Does this concern you?
Either they got the word somebody sitting out tonight, Skip, or some whales came in because the line don't move like that with a $10 and $15 bet.
Maybe they were watching Undisputed. LeBron in the fourth quarter against Golden State.
Somebody came and dropped. You got to drop a couple $100 bands for that thing to move like this. In an hour or two to move 3 points. Look, the Lakers are 11-4. I'm not going to overreact to one loss. They know what the Milwaukee Bucks represent. They won't take them for granted. I mean, there have been times that they played down to the competition. Skip, we saw what they did to San Antonio. Then San Antonio come back like 5-6 days later and wipe the floor with them in their own building. So Milwaukee will get the best of the Lakers, so I'm not concerned. I don't care about no line. Bet we get this dub tonight, though.
So 2 teams nicknamed Bucs are about to win games in Wisconsin. That would be the Milwaukee Bucks tonight against the Lakers, and that would be the Tampa Bay Bucks against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers on Sunday.
No.
Bucks and Bucks. It's a Bucks kind of day and night. Here we go.
First of all, on Sunday, y'all not winning anything. But I need that energy. And don't cut me off, because I know how you're going to be upset when you lose. And try to cut me off. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take my time with it.
Cut you off?
Yeah, I'm going to take my time with this tomorrow morning, too, when LeBron put this 30-point triple-dub on y'all.
Well, I just hope it's not a close game in the fourth quarter or your Lakers are in trouble, because LeBron is having a hard time in the fourth quarter.
Oh, you trust Giannis in the fourth quarter more than LeBron?
No, I don't.
Okay, then.
But I do trust Chris Middleton, because he makes big shots for that team.
Well, hold on. Did AD move? Did AD leave? Did we trade AD? That's what happened.
Wait, you mean Andy Dalton?
No,
Andy
he did not go anywhere. I'm looking forward to this game tonight. I apparently am wearing my Lakers colors today, guys. Great stuff. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is on right now. Have a great day, everyone.